I am not a good cook. I know many people say that there are no bad cooks because all you do is follow instructions, but I've followed instructions and screwed things up before. Either way, while I may feel like a sim with level 1 cooking skill in real life, I am a beast when it comes to games about cooking. Come into my Cake Shop 3 cafe and you'd never want to eat anyone else's cakes ever again. And back in the day, one of my favorite games to play was the Wii game Order Up. Developed by Supervillain Studios and published by Zoo Games, Order Up was released to the Wii in July 2008, and would also have PS3, 3DS, and smartphone ports released throughout 2011 to 2012. This game made some of my fondest memories growing up with the Wii, and I think that the game still holds up today. So let's take a look back at it and live out a life that I will never lead: being an actual good chef. At the start of the game, you get to choose which of the chefs you want to play as: Guy Chef or Gal Chef. These are their official names, I'm not kidding. After choosing, you get ejected from the helicopter you're flying in, without a parachute mind you, and you land on the island of Portobello. It's only taken me 16-ish years to realize that the name of this place is a pun on portobello mushrooms. But nonetheless, you land directly in the dumpster of your first place of employment, a fast food joint named Burger Face. It's here where a presumably severely underpaid teenager gives you the rundown on how to maneuver the kitchen. Your kitchen is consistent between locations consisting of 4 main areas: the cutting board, the stovetop, the fryer, and the grill. Now, the 3DS and PS3 ports of the game replace the stovetop for the Burger Face tutorial with a soda fountain, but it doesn't come up again in any other section, so I have no clue why they did that, but we're focusing on the Wii here. The cutting board is used for many ingredients, and not all of them need cutting. Now, many do need to be cut, diced, grated, carved, sliced, or otherwise separated from itself, but it's also a good flat surface for many other ingredients. For example, you may have to fold a burrito, dredge some fish, or spread butter on bread, or even top a pizza. Most ingredients here are going to be timing based, but that doesn't always mean faster is better. In the cases of grating cheese or leafing lettuce, yes, speedrun that shit. But when you are slicing a tomato, for example, you need to be way more precise and slice with a rhythm to get the best quality. All in all, the cutting board is a very versatile station. The stovetop, fryer, and grill, on the other hand, all have the cooking meter. The longer the ingredients are cooking, the higher that meter will be. And for most cases, you want to make sure your ingredients are in the green when you plate them. We'll talk about a few exceptions to that later, but for all intents and purposes, you want your cook to be in the green. The only difference between the 3 is how the meter moves. The easiest of the 3 is the fryer. Anything that is fried just needs to be lowered into the fryer, and then you wait for the meter to reach the green. Then lift the fryer and plate. Simple, easy, I'm sure a monkey could do it. Oh, maybe not well, but it could. The next easiest is the grill. Ingredients cooked on the grill will need to be flipped after a certain amount of time, hence the 2 arrows on the meter. Wait for one side to hit the green, then flip, and then wait for the other side to hit the green, then plate. More effort and requires some more attention, but still fairly simple. And lastly, the stovetop. This station, much like the cutting board, has a variety of actions you can do depending on what ingredients you're cooking. Here, you're normally using a pot or pan to cook. With stirring and sauteing, you'll need to make sure that your spoon or pan icon doesn't get too hot, otherwise you might start a fire. Just stir the spoon or toss the pan to reset them. Fairly simple. There's also steaming, which is even more brain dead and just requires you to wait until the arrow hits the green. Spreading butter, which requires you to move the pan around to spread the butter evenly. And mashing, which is just doing a downward motion to mash up potatoes. Though spreading butter and mashing are timing based rather than needing to use the cooking meter. There's also the oven and food processor, used fairly seldomly. They only require you to drag the item from the ticket to the respective appliance and then you wait. If you can somehow manage to fuck that up, I'd honestly be more impressed than mad. Now, for each ingredient, there's a quality scale depending on how good you did when preparing them. The scale goes poor, okay, good, perfect. You, of course, want to go for perfect. The lower the quality of the ingredients, the lower the overall quality of the dish, and the less money you receive. Simple as that. Now that we understand how each station works, it's time to take orders. When a ticket comes in, you get to see what meal is being ordered and the ingredients you'll have to deal with. For the tutorial, you only get hamburgers and fries, consisting of the burger patty, the fries, lettuce, and tomato. So you cook the patty, fry the fries, leaf the lettuce, and slice the tomato. Once all ingredients are done, you ring the bell to serve. Now, you shouldn't leave the food out for too long, as it'll begin to cool down once it's ready to be served. So if you have multiple tickets, it's best that you plate all your food at the same time, so that they're all hot and ready to go. Don't worry about the ingredients themselves getting cold. They magically are kept hot right until you complete a dish. I don't know, chef's magic or something.
I can tell you're going to be with Burger Face a long time. a long, long time.
I'd rather throw myself into the fryer. Now, once you're done with the tutorial, we continue on with the story. After your shift at Burger Face, you get your paycheck, which totals out to -6 coin. Yeah, the currency in Portobello is just coin. All caps, coin. Either way, you live the dream of many a teenager and rage quit your fry cook job and begin to walk around, dejected, before seeing an abandoned diner sitting right next to a loan business. Put 2 and 2 together, light bulb moment, and now you own the Gravy Chug, a local Portobello diner. It's here where the game really begins, as you own your own new establishment and get more dishes to deal with. Your goal with each new location is to reach 5 stars, which is done by doing 5 separate tasks: unlocking all menu items, cleaning up your restaurant, purchasing a certain number of chef specials, earning a certain amount of coin, and impressing the food critic. To accomplish these star goals, you need more coin. And what better way to get coin than by harassing the paperboy? Yes, as the paperboy nugget cycles on by, you can give him a slight nudge and have him fall over. Once he does this, his newspapers will be spread out all over the sidewalk. Then cars will drive by, sending the papers flying into the air. It's your job to catch as many as you can within a minute. The more you catch in the row, the higher your points are. And the faster you catch them, the faster more cars drive by. It's a minigame of both accuracy and speed. But if you do a really good job, he'll pay you some coin as a thank you. While I appreciate the money nugget, I think you should be spending it on some hospital bills because that looked like a hard fall. Are you sure you didn't get a concussion? Do you know where you are? Do you know who you are? Once you're done bullying this poor kid, you can enter your restaurant and begin to cook. Customers will begin to enter and sit at a table. You can select which one you want to do by clicking on the table. Now, once the customers enter, you'll notice some of them talk and have yellow speech bubbles when they order. These are special customers, and they have some preferences that you can cater to, but at this moment you can't do much with that information. Just keep them in the back of your head. But for the first day, it's simple enough. You only have 3 dishes on the menu at the start: hamburger and fries, which we already know how to make thanks to Burger Face; mac and cheese, which just needs us to grate cheese, boil noodles, and then boil everything together; and a ham and cheese omelet, which needs grated cheese, diced ham, a buttered pan, and some sauteing. Fairly simple stuff, but when trying to do all of it at once, it may get slightly hectic. But it can be done. The next day, you get to hire your first assistant chef. Assistants sit in the bottom right of the screen, and you can drag almost any ingredient to them and they'll deal with it, though the quality and times may vary from assistant to assistant. But at first, we get Crispin Brown, a fry cook, all things considered. He can produce good quality stuff normally, but anything that's fried he can do perfectly. There's also Larry Cheesler for hire if you want to fork over the coin. He doesn't produce perfect food, but he can make your customers order more specials with his car salesman-like charm. Oh, and there's also Randall McDaniel, a literal clown who, much like Larry, doesn't make perfect food, but increases the patience of your customers with his entertaining aura. Going through another day of work, you'll get a call from Mr. Miyota, a spice salesman in the farmer's market. It's there where you can purchase a wide variety of spices for not only these special customers, but also for chef's specials, which we'll get into in a day's time. But before Miyota will let you buy spices, he wants to give you a test. So you know what he does? He starts throwing peppers into the air and has you cut it in a specific pattern. My brother in Christ, I just wanted some salt and pepper, not to play this weird version of Fruit Ninja. Either way, he'll pay you depending on how well you did, and then you can purchase spices. But this won't be the last we hear of this Mr. Miyota. These spices are mainly used for 2 things: chef specials, which we'll get to in due time, but also for catering to those special customers. On their tickets, you can pay some coin to see how they like their food to be prepared. For Gravy Chug, you have 5 special customers: Tex Porterhouse, a country boy who absolutely adores barbecue sauce, yeah, that checks out; Sweet Tooth, a childish man without teeth who lives with his mom still, who likes his food sweet. So basically the typical Redditor, I guess. Salty Sam, an old fisherman, navy captain, and pirate combo, who likes his food as salty as the sea he sails in; Hootenanny Pete, a hillbilly hick who has his nose kicked in, and as such he likes his food with aromatics since he won't be able to smell them; and Jimbo Jambo, a man who loves his exercise and constantly claims he's on a diet, but would also not complain if you gave him some gravy. Yeah, you'll notice this game loves a stereotype, but I guess that's neither here nor there in 2008. Back at the restaurant, if you give them a spice that they like, they'll tip you extra, so it's always best to give them what they want if you want some more coin. Press minus when preparing an ingredient and you'll be able to choose a spice to add. For the special customers, it doesn't matter what specific ingredient you add a spice to, it just matters as long as it's the right type. So you can give Sweet Tooth either brown sugar or hoisin sauce and he'll still tip you the same. So you can give Sweet Tooth some mac and cheese covered in brown sugar and he'll like it. And if you give them their preferred spice type, they'll do a little jig at the table and give you a tip.
Woo-wee! This is some mighty the stinky stuff.
Dude, you're in a fucking restaurant. Can you not? People are trying to eat here. For chef specials, the ticket will tell you what ingredients need the spices, and it'll tell you on the side of the spice menu what spices to add. Oh, and the special customers also have spices that they hate, revealed in the hints during your star rating reveal every day, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. They never order chef specials, so you won't risk them ordering something with a spice that they hate. But at this point, the routine should make sense now. Push nugget, make food, buy spices, repeat. But you might encounter one of the mini games at this point, either at random or by accident. So let's discuss them. Dishwasher. Even the best restaurants have to cut corners somewhere, and for our establishments, we just might not clean the plates. It adds flavor, trust. But if the health inspector comes in, don't worry, we'll just clean the plates right in front of him. Just move the rear remote over the plate to clean 7 plates, and he'll deem our restaurant passable. Rats in the kitchen. Sometimes rats will enter the kitchen to get a taste of the food. I mean, it is tasty after all. Just flick enough of them away and then you can move on. But be quick since customers are waiting. Asleep on the job. If you give too many tasks to one of your assistants, which normally equates to like 4 things, they might fall asleep, and you'll have to shake them awake again. Just violently shake the remote and they'll be good to go. Knife sharpening. You always want to have a sharp knife to cut with, so sometimes your knife might get dull. Rotate the controller to the green and then move down until the green to properly sharpen the knife. Yeah, I don't like this minigame that much. Fire in the kitchen. Sometimes we forget something, or sometimes we mistime something. Either way, a fire may break out in the kitchen. Hold B to use the extinguisher and hover over the flames. If your extinguisher empties, start shaking to refill it and get back to getting those flames out. Now we've gotten the hang of things, but we need to get some chef specials. So back at the farmer's market, you can now go to the black market and buy some chef specials from this weird guy. Each special is 50 more coin than the last, and each location has 8 specials. The latter 4 specials require spices that get unlocked at later restaurants, but that's neither here nor there. Chef specials give you an extra tip, much like how special customers do, but normal, non-special customers can order it. It's probably by this point that you've perused the newspaper a bit more. Yeah, the paper that Nugget delivers isn't just for show, you can actually use it. Not only can you hire assistants from here, but you can also purchase some upgrades for your restaurant. These upgrades are to clean the place up, which earns you a star, speeding up your oven, food processor, and knife, and speeding up the rest of your equipment. While only the cleanup upgrade is needed to progress, it is nice to have quicker equipment, especially when you're in the fast-paced rat race of the kitchen. So now by this point you should have a damn good restaurant to your name. Clean place, expansive menu including specials, and you've got some cash in your wallet. So you should be at 4 stars, which means the next guest you'll have is none other than Sir Edmund Waddleberry, the Portobello food critic. He'll order one of your chef's specials and you'll have to make a damn good dish to impress him. Once you do, congratulations, you have a 5-star restaurant, and it's time to move up a step to the new neighborhood of Old Town. Here in Old Town, for the low price of just 200 coin, you get your next restaurant, El Fuego. As you would expect, this is a Mexican joint, with tacos, burritos, chimichangas, and all sorts of Mexican or otherwise Latino cuisine adorning the menu. It's here where we get some new special customers too. Maria Pepita Rosita, a salsa dancer who loves some spice, no matter how tame. Yes, this includes black pepper for some reason.
This is off the scale, it's so hot!
It's pepper, Maria. And Dusty Keister, a monotonous cowboy who likes his meat burnt. Yes, burnt. You might risk a fire, but that's how he likes it. You also have Hootenanny, Tex, and Sweet Tooth dining here as well, so make sure you're stocked up on aromatics, barbecue sauce, and sweet spices too. There's also some new assistants you can hire as well. Lunk Man Dude, an ex-convict who loves to grill, so give him anything on the griddle and he'll give it back made perfectly. Hashi Ichiro, a Japanese chef who's an expert with his knife. Give him anything to do with a knife and it'll come back perfect. And the Santos, a Mexican chef complete with a sombrero, who's the only assistant to be able to use chef spices. It may not be perfect quality, but it'll be properly spiced. But here at El Fuego, it's more of the same routine, just with more expensive upgrades and menu. Once you impress the food critic again, you can move up onto Suffolini's, an Italian place with pizzas and pastas and risottos, oh my. And as you'd expect, you have a few more assistants and special customers to deal with. For special customers, you've firstly got Sally Bitters, who is very snooty and sour, which is appropriate considering she likes sour spices. And you've also got Count Stacula, a literal vampire who enjoys his food raw. So effectively, don't even cook it. Odd to be dining at an Italian place given that garlic will kill you, but you do you, Stacula. You also get Maria, Hootenanny, and Dusty here at Suffolini's. As for assistants, you've got Doughboy, an appropriately round fella who's an expert with breads and pastas, although in my experience he couldn't do shit with anything I threw at him. Cecil So Straight, an expert in anything you throw at him, though he'll take longer to do it. And Gung Hobart, a military man who makes other assistants work faster by barking orders at them. supposedly. And I guess I haven't talked about this, so while you continue cooking as per usual, let's talk about the telephone booth. Oddly, it says make the call when you hover over it, which is ominous, but nonetheless, you have 3 options here. The chef tip line, where you'll get a tip from the master chef, a judge on a TV cooking competition.
You cannot learn cooking from a phone. How that for a tip? Now go cook.
Call the food critic, where you can invite the food critic around again if you messed up the first time. And delivery guy, where you get to play a mini game with Ned the delivery guy. He'll bring his truck, and for a small fee, he'll spin a slot machine. If it lands on a spice, you get it. There's also other random things that don't do anything, like exotic cheeses. Like, yeah, thanks Ned, I could really use these, jackass. Anywho, let's move quickly on to the final restaurant, chez, haute, located in the downtown district. This restaurant is high-class, fine French dining. So the menu consists of things like filet mignon, roast duck, veal stew, and other high-class and snobby meals. And of course, new special customers and assistants. For special customers, only one new one appears here, being Russell Sprouts. He's a vegetarian, so he doesn't eat meat. However, he'll order meals with meat on them. So you'll have to use the Vegify spice on any meat in the meal to turn it into an appropriate plant-based meat substitute. Which, I got a rant here, why the hell did your sorry ass waltz into my restaurant, look at the menu, and choose to order something with meat on it when you're a vegetarian?
Hi, I'd like the surf and turf, please, but I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat. Is there anything you can do about that?
I oughta f***ing kill you. You also get Count Stacula, Sally, and Hootenanny here as well. Now, how the hell Hootenanny has enough money to eat here, I'll never know. Maybe he does furry art as a side gig or something, I don't know. And I don't judge, it clearly makes good money and he's paying, so you know what, hell yeah. As for new assistants, we've got Dash McCracken, who is extremely fast but doesn't produce good quality food at all, Alita Von Snoot, who can cook ingredients over the stove and with a knife flawlessly, and Mr. Jinkies, who is a literal monkey, and as such, he doesn't ever sleep on the job. Why did we hire an actual fucking animal? Well, at least he's proving me right on how easy it is to man the fryer. Now, as you're moving through these restaurants, you'll be going to the farmer's market to buy spices and chef specials. But as you buy the spices from Mr. Miyota, he will randomly decide to lore dump about himself in Portobello on you. Apparently, before Portobello was named as such, it was known as Cake Town. And as Miyota was making the tallest cake ever for the anniversary of Cake Town, it blew up, since Miyota was inflating it with hydrogen, and thus Cake Town was forgotten and was transformed into Portobello. Nowadays, he retired from being a chef and sells spices in the market, and maybe something else as well. Either way, after chez, haute, you get invited to the Fortified Chef World Challenge, the same game show that the Masked Judge judges on. You remember the Masked Judge I talked about that gives you the chef's tips on the phone?
Now go cook.
Yeah, him. He's here, and he looks and sounds, rather suspicious. I wonder who he is. Guess we'll never know. Either way, we also get introduced to the host, Make Show, an eccentric and probably really racist character, much like the rest of the characters in this game, but nah. But he's just the host, we don't have to dwell on him for too long. Totally. Here you have to compete against the chef that you didn't choose at the start of your game, who here is the Fortified Chef. Each chef will prepare 3 chef special dishes, and the chef with the highest score after those dishes wins. No assistants, infinite spices, high stakes. Now, as you compete against this chef, you'll begin to realize that they are absolutely atrocious with their food, getting several pours, okays, and goods on their ingredients, resulting in okay or good dishes. So yeah, basically this one's in the bag. You make your 3 dishes, probably getting a perfect on all of them, and absolutely beat this so-called fortified chef. The judges vote you as the winner, and then the credits I was talking! Yes, Make Show, the host of the competition, disagrees with the judges, and says that you stole the methods of Mr. Miyota, his father. The masked judge then reveals his identity as Mr. Miyota, and suggests that you and Make Show compete in culinary combat. Effectively the same challenge as before, and he wants to challenge you head-on. Welcome to, effectively, the final boss of Order Up. It's the same challenge here, except this time Make Show is a tad bit more talented than the other chef, getting more perfects on his dishes, and normally resulting in a dish rated good. So to beat him, you'll have to make 3 absolutely perfect dishes, which again, at this stage of the game, shouldn't be too hard. So now, it's over. Your dishes absolutely crush his, and the judges vote you as the true winner. Make Show concedes, and you win the Golden Spatula, the penultimate prize of Fortified Chef. You've won the game, though you haven't 100%ed it yet. While yes, you have 4 5-star restaurants, you probably haven't unlocked all the chef specials yet. As I said before, each restaurant has 8 total chef specials. The latter 4 require spices from the later restaurants. minus chez, haute, of course. So some more work is required to unlock everything. But it ain't too bad now that you're at the top of your class, since the money you make from your restaurants, chez, haute specifically, can quickly earn you enough coin to unlock everything. And that is the full game of Order Up for the Wii. Now, I do want to say that there is a PS3 and 3DS port where there exists a new restaurant, Kung Fusion. It's an Asian restaurant serving anything and everything from that continent, from sushi to pho to fortune cookies for some reason. Oh, and the waiter is a ninja who doesn't speak and can teleport. Yeah, some parts of this game age like milk. Oh, and the fortune cookies have a chef special dish called Miss Fortune Cookies, which literally just adds in a bunch of horrible spices to it. Yeah, this place feels like it was rushed just to add another location so that chez, haute wasn't the only proper restaurant in downtown. Like, they literally did not give the waiter voice lines and put it behind a mysterious ninja persona. Oh, and these ports also add in MSG as a miscellaneous spice, pretty much exclusively used on the chef's special dishes of Confusion. So now that we've seen the game, what did the public think about it? Well, pretty well by the looks of it. With the Wii version, most reviewers put it around the 7 out of 10 range, and I can see why. The game is still fun to this day, and there's not much to it that you can get mad at. It's mostly a skill issue if things don't work out. That being said, it doesn't have much replayability. Once you get through the story, the most you can do is max out the restaurants and grab as many spices as you can. And after that, well, that's it. Yes, there's some randomization in the customers that you get and the meals that they order, but the most you could do after that is just play the story again. And it can be quite easy once you've played it before. That being said, it is a very fun restaurant sim, and the art style and story is that right level of quirky that it makes me give a nice smirk. Of course, there were also the PS3, smartphone, and 3DS ports of the game, and they're about the same, though I think the weakest of the three is the PS3 port, specifically because of the controls. I think Order Up's controls work really well with the Wii Remote, and touch controls like on a smartphone or the 3DS also work extremely well. But using the analog stick, while it works fine, isn't very immersive and fun. It can make things quite easier, and sometimes I want a challenge. Also, they did use the DualShock 3's motion controls in some spots, like ringing the bell, but it's used so infrequently that it just doesn't really matter. Though it isn't a bad port of the game, and it includes more stuff and at a higher quality. It's just not the original true experience in my opinion. Much like many other games, Order Up formed my childhood, and was a game I reliably always brought with me on trips. It's become a staple of the games that I played on the Wii, and is undoubtedly one of my favorites. If you can, give it a go. With a low difficulty curve and gameplay that is honestly pretty fun, I definitely would give it a recommendation. Now, does it make you a better chef? Absolutely not. Hey, editing them here, coming to you live with an update. Apparently, as I was making this video, Nicholas, the game company that helped make The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, one of my favorite games, is actually publishing a new and improved port of Order Up to the Switch 2 sometime in Q2 of 2026. And it genuinely looks super cool from the promo images we can see. It's like Order Up, but with RTX on. Anyways, if you have a Switch 2, you can pre-order the game from Nicholas's website, so if you wanna, go do that. I'm sure it's just as fun as the Wii version, considering the Joy-Cons are motion-based as well, so you'll get the full experience. And Nicholas made one of my favorite games, so I trust him with this other game that I like. Anywho, cue the outro.